This episode of Foreplay is brought to you by Movement Watches. That's MVMT Movement Watches. I recently got my first Movement watch, went with the classic blue-brown leather, and it is amazing. People ask me all the time, hey, Riggs, where'd you get that sexy-ass watch? How many hundreds, how many thousands of dollars did that awesome, sexy-ass watch cost? Nope, neither. Movement watches start at just $95. Movement watches started by two broke college kids that wanted to wear stylish watches but could not afford them, so they started their own watch company. Not all that dissimilar from, two broke golf guys who simply wanted to just talk about golf on a golf podcast like two normal guys. Movement watches start, like I said, at just $95. At a department store, you're looking at, $400 or $500 at least. At Movement, they figured out that by selling online, they were able to cut out the middleman, retail markup, providing the best possible price. There's a classic design, quality construction, and styled minimalism. Over 1 million watches sold already in over 160 countries. Folks, get 15% off today with free shipping and free returns by going to mvmtwatches.com/Fore. That's Fore. Like I said, my watch is phenomenal. Everybody asks me about it. Hey, it's a sexy-ass watch. Where'd you get it? mvmtwatches.com/Fore for 15% off. Join the movement.
This episode of Foreplay is also brought to you by DraftKings. The first golf major of 2017 is fast approaching, which, breaking news, me and Riggs are going. The Masters. And to celebrate, DraftKings.com is hosting a free fantasy golf contest with $100,000 in total prizes up for grabs. Whether you live and breathe golf, like we do on this podcast here, or you're looking to try a new fantasy sport now that football's over, 1 week fantasy golf at DraftKings is for you. And fantasy golf on DraftKings is easy to play. Just pick 6 golfers before the tournament tees off, then sit back and follow the action live. Rack up points for streaks, per-hole performance, tournament finishes, and more. Outscore the competition and win. You can't get closer to the action than this. Millions of fantasy sports fans, just like you, have experienced the excitement of DraftKings. Now it's your turn. Hurry to DraftKings.com now to draft your lineup. Get free entry in the $100,000 contest for golf's first major with promo code FORE. That's F-O-R-E. That's code FORE, F-O-R-E, to play for your share of $100,000 in total prizes. Only at DraftKings.com, the destination for 1 week fantasy sports. Eligibility restrictions may apply. See DraftKings.com for details.
All right, welcome back to Foreplay. This is episode 8?
8.
Wow.
Big 8.
8 episodes. It's WGC-Dell Match Play Week. Love the match play.
Huge match play, guys.
Yep, we're going to get into the brackets and the match playness later at the end of the podcast, but I like when they throw a little wrinkle in.
I think they should do this more, if we're being completely honest. I know we're going to talk about it later. The more match play, the better. People fucking love match play.
People love it, and we've said, too, that it makes a lot more sense that people are very into the Ryder Cup, the President's Cup, the match play, because that's what people play when they go play with their buddies on the weekend.
It's more relatable. People love it.
You're very rarely just going out there grinding out stroke play against your buddy. You're usually playing match play.
That would suck if that's what you're doing.
You have a problem, and you're taking everything way too seriously if that's what you do on the reg. If you do it occasionally, that's fine. But anyway, match play week, we're going to get into that as per usual at the end of the podcast. I want to go through a couple of my don't say words.
How did you do last week? Do you have any idea?
So I did better on the things that I knew beforehand. The one thing that I didn't was just saying love that all the time.
Okay.
Because we had already recorded the interview, and apparently I said love that 9 times in the interview. So that's priority number 1 is don't say any rendition of love that.
Love this, love that. Okay.
And I think we just generally say that we agree with each other too much.
Yeah, that's probably true.
So that's another thing, just saying agreed. So that's still on there as like, fuck, insane. Those are the other 3 on there.
Okay.
So we're trying not to say those as much as we possibly can. Anyway, big week for us.
The biggest week in Foreplay history. There's only been 8 of them, but this is by far, this last week was a goddamn storm of publicity for your boys.
We went viral as fuck. There's an F-bomb already. On Tuesday, right after, really, we recorded the podcast. People don't realize, but we went to bed or I left the office. You and Rob slept here.
Me and Rob stayed. We did not cuddle. I stayed in CO Erica's office, and Rob crashed on the couch. which was nice. It was nice. We watched some wrestling together, which was weird for me.
Yeah, we did The Bachelor, and then we did Monday Night Raw back to back.
Instantly, by the way, Rob was not fucking around with the remote. As soon as The Bachelor was over, he didn't even ask me like, "Hey, do you want to watch wrestling?" The wrestling was on the TVs instantly.
He shut Bachelor right down.
Shut it down.
No, but I think he probably did not enjoy it. But he was, as soon as it was over, he's like, "I'm changing the channel."
So the blizzard was highly anticipated. People were going nuts. Thousands and thousands of flights canceled.
Stella,
that's the name. I always forget the name. Stella. So we had this big elaborate plan. We're going to wake up early in the morning when we think the blizzard's going to be worst. We want it to be dark out. We're just going to go film a stupid little promo video for the week when there's a bunch of snow on the ground.
The original idea was for it to be 2 minutes, and we thought most of it was going to be B-roll, and we were just going to go out here on Broadway, hit a couple of balls, like, look at these guys, they're playing in the snow after they were just on vacation. We're going to pack it up and go home. It turned into something a lot more than that.
Yeah, so we decided to take a cab to Times Square. We're like, we'll get a couple shots up there. People keep asking, did you guys take the photo? How come they're not crediting you on the photo?
Why isn't Robbie Fox getting credit for the photo?
We had no idea if people were even really taking professional pictures. People have to understand that New York in general in the middle of the night is a bizarre place. There's all sorts of artsy, weirdo folks walking around taking pictures at any given moment, the blizzard especially. So we saw a bunch of, everything from hipsters to whatever.
Before we went to Times Square, we were standing on Broadway. There was a guy in the middle of the street. He almost got hit by 3 cars. I am new to this. I didn't know this phenomenon of photographers being out in the storm. You guys are like, yeah, that's what they do. And then we went to Times Square, and there were a whole bunch more.
This guy was standing in the middle of the street. Like, whenever a car would drive up, he was pissed that the cars were driving up. Like, what the fuck are you guys doing? I'm standing here taking pictures.
It's the other way around, pal.
Middle of Broadway. Like Broadway and 27th or whatever it was. So, anyway, we went over to Times Square. We shot our video, kind of minding our own business. A couple of people said, are you guys going to be here doing this for a while? Or, yeah, sure, whatever. We're just trying to film our video and go to bed.
It's like cold as fuck outside.
4:45 in the morning, 5 a.m., cold, blizzarding. We're just trying to get a couple good shots on video. We don't really care, whatever. Leave us alone. Go home about, 6 a.m.?
Yep.
Go to bed. Wake up, and phone was going nuts.
So I woke up at probably 8:30, just kind of one of those I'm going to fall back asleep here in about 2 seconds. And in those 2 seconds, I always check Twitter because I'm an addict to social media.
Yep.
And I saw the Daily Mail one. And I was like, that's fucking awesome.
Yep.
That's awesome. I'm going to throw a retweet on that. And if nothing else, we can be like, isn't it pretty cool that Daily Mail caught us out there and we put the picture up? And then I hit the retweet button, fall asleep for about an hour, wake up. It's like the world changed.
It was wild. I didn't expect that. Like I said, we just thought it was some random, schlub taking pictures. Like, yeah, whatever, pal. Turns out it was AP photographer. It went nuts. People were calling us many things. Morons, 2 morons. I think we got called men. Just men many times.
Idiots, men, morons, lunatics maybe. I might have been one of them. A lot of words for us. Not a lot of Barstool connection when the photograph first came out.
Now everyone's like, "Oh, you guys wearing a bunch of merch?" We don't sell ski coats.
And also, I'm glad you brought that up. I fucking hate these people who are saying, why aren't you wearing Barstool merch? Why aren't you wearing Barstool merch? A couple things. One, we didn't think we were going to go viral city all over the world, so we weren't really even thinking about it. We were wearing hats.
We had the Barstool hats on. Like I said, we don't sell ski coats.
Yeah.
And we didn't even notice people were taking pictures.
No, the guy did not identify himself like, hey, I'm AP. This is going to go wild tomorrow.
Right, he doesn't wear a flag.
No, he does not. And also, if we had thought about it, the more I think about it now, wearing Barstool stuff might have hindered the photo from going so viral. Because when people see Barstool, they turn away and they don't want to see it. Us looking like normal Joes kind of Trojan horsed us into the viral market.
If we had on the Barstool polo, Barstool joggers, Barstool shoes, Saturdays for the boys towels flying off our bags and the back of our heads, no chance that photo goes anywhere.
You would have never heard about it. I compared it to when our Boston guys did the Brady Fore thing. There's a reason people are like, why don't you wear merch? It's just everywhere. It's an opportunity. There's a reason for that because we know people don't like to give Barstool credit for anything. So you go in kind of under the radar and then you get covered. And then afterwards you're like, hey, that's us.
So that's our little pushback to all the haters that tried to fuck up our awesome day of being famous.
Which I've gotten a couple of responses. Most of the responses have been positive, like that photo's unbelievable. And I've even got responses where the photo is unbelievable, even if it's not you guys. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
I know. It's
like,
that good.
It's not. It doesn't have to be that it's Riggs and Trent, the Barstool guys out there. If that was a picture of two guys in Times Square, anonymous guys, it's gonna win some awards, I think.
Which, if it was obvious that it was Barstool, then that wouldn't be the same photo. Not even close.
100%.
So.
Oh, and also fuck the people who are chirping your swing when it's a still photo and they have no idea and you're in like ski clothes.
Love those people attacking like the plane of my club. I'm in fucking ski gear in a blizzard hitting a tennis ball.
On a pile
you
of snow.
Psychopaths.
If you
try not to fall over. That was like the main thing.
If we could pinpoint people who this podcast is not for, it's those people.
Yep.
Who came at you like, your swing sucks, blah, blah, blah. Just don't even listen to the podcast anymore.
No way you can attack it with the right angle from that position, Riggs.
It's like we're in the middle of Times Square in a fucking blizzard.
Don't listen to my podcast, you sons of bitches. Moving on. Greenskeeping. Everybody, go leave a good review.
Mm-hmm.
Don't forget, leave a review. Be funny, be interesting.
Yep.
We're going to start implementing new prizes that you can win.
Yeah.
For now, you can still win a green jacket. There's not that many in the world. There's only, 4?
4 in the world right now.
Get yourself one. Go leave a review, please. Leave a good review. Leave a funny review. Leave a good story. Something that catches our eye, and you can win a green jacket. Riggsy Golf Minute. We got to do a quick update. We had a bunch of different tournaments. 58-year-old Tom Lehman topped Steve Stricker, Bernard Longer, and Freddie Couples to win the Senior Tour's Tucson
Conquistadors, my friend.
What did I say? Conquistadors?
Conquistadors.
That's not correct.
I did not think you were going to trip over that, and then you fell flat on your face.
I will
that
say
word.
that when I saw it originally, I was like, oh, yeah, I know how to say that. But I'm just kind of scrolling left to right here, and
That's a sweet tournament name.
Conquistadors.
I like that. The Senior Tour's Tucson Conquistadors Classic.
Conquistadors. In lady golf, the LPGA Tour went to Phoenix over the weekend for the Bank of Hope Founders Cup. This one's going to be tricky. The event's website writes, an exciting finish to this year's Bank of Hope Founders Cup. Anna Norquist held off Ji Chun, Stacey Lewis, and Aria Jutenugern to pick up her first win of the 2017 season.
That's a tough one. That's not. I don't know how to say. I know how to say conquistadors. I do not know how to say that lady's last name.
My girl Brooke Henderson, T13. Lydia Ko, T8. Arnold Palmer Bay Hill. Everybody knows we watched that. We're going to go to that next. First one without Mr. Palmer. Came down to the stretch. Very exciting finish. Australian Mark Leishman wins. Shout out to our boy Wesley Bryan, who finished solo 69th. Took home $17,574.
Wesley Bryan, who's been playing really solid golf, and he's been making headlines for that. I like that even when he doesn't. I mean, 69 is fine, and 17,000 isn't terrible. But I like that he's still making headlines because he's 69. Something about him. He's got he's got the magic on him.
Yeah, solo 69 too. No T69, none of that crap. So congrats to Wesley Bryan. That's very nice. So yeah, Trent. It was Bay Hill. Bay Hill is always a great tourney. We talked going in that. We're very excited about it. We're always excited about it. We weren't worried that a lot of the drama was about who wasn't showing up. That wasn't really on our radar too much. We thought it'd be a great tourney, and it was.
It was. Mark Leishman, I'm not going to say he shouldn't have won this tournament, but there were certainly other names that should have won this tournament. Kevin Kisner stands out right away.
Leishman never really seemed like he was going to win until he then just won.
He just won. Hoffman was right up there.
Hoffman was up there. We had we're going to get into a little bit of my gambling losses eventually, but yeah, Leishman, he had that bomb on 16 for eagle.
Yep.
And it was there were a ton of people at 9, 10 under around that area. A couple guys started to make a few bogeys, which brought the whole field, it felt like, into play. And then all of a sudden Leishman makes eagle, and you're like, wait, what? He's in the lead? And then he held on. He one-putted, I think the last 4 or 5 holes.
Yep.
So he definitely deserved it. It's his second win. He also, of note, he was in that 2015 British Open playoff at St. Andrews.
That was Zach Johnson won
with
that one,
ZJ
correct?
and Louis Oosthuizen.
That's right.
Where he bogeyed 16, parred 17, and then couldn't birdie 18 to win it. So he's and then his last win, his only other win, was the 2012 Travelers Championship. So like you said, he kind of I mean, he was there. We knew he was in the mix, but then he just vaulted into the lead and never gave it up.
No, yeah, it was Kisner, Hoffman, and then Rory down the stretch. Rory made a real charge to make it interesting for people who were kind of flipping back and forth with basketball. You see the name Rory, maybe stick with golf. He kind of faltered down the stretch. He said afterwards in an interview that he kind of pushed it a little too hard. He wanted to go for the win at the end there, and that it cost him. How much money did it end up costing him that
so
three-putt?
So he three-putted on 18. It cost him just under $400,000.
Doesn't matter to Rory.
No, it really
Rory.
doesn't. But still, I mean, he wouldn't just drive her around and throw $400,000 out the window.
He certainly would not, which he basically did on 18.
Yeah.
Although I'm trying to. I mean,
he did and he didn't. You know, he's trying to win the tournament. So
that's the thing. I think. Let me ask you this: a guy who doesn't have the luxury of a Rory, who is like, he got the Nike deal. He's got 4 majors and he didn't even shit really. Is that pushing him where he's like, I don't care if I lose this $400,000? It
really depends on the level of the guy. I mean, if I feel like most of the field, no, guys are just trying to win. They're not really thinking about the dollar figures. However, if you're really a young guy or you're playing on sponsors exemptions, you're trying to cling onto your card or get your card for the next year or pay for a fucking house.
Yeah.
Then yes, but I don't know. I feel like most guys, and a lot of guys too. I mean, what did he have? 4 or 5 feet coming back that he missed. A lot of guys feel like they're going to make those anyways.
True.
So I don't know. That was tricky to watch, and it felt too like Leishman very easily could have bogeyed coming down the stretch,
Definitely.
17 or 18.
Yeah.
So even that 3-putt, it looked like for a while, especially when Leishman, I think, what did he pull it left off the tee?
Yes.
It looked like even that 2-putt would have gotten Rory potentially into a playoff. So that was a little tough, but like you said, getting a big name in the mix after there really weren't huge names on Saturday or Sunday very much. That drew some eyes, I feel like.
Adam Hadwin was hanging around too, the Canadian who just won. He finished at 8 under, but he almost holed out. Drawing a blank on what hole it was. 17, which would have put him right in the mix. It should have been a hole in one, but the flag's in it, so it busted it out.
Yep.
Unbelievable. Adam Hadwin, playing unbelievable golf.
Getting married on Friday too.
Getting married on Friday. Canceled his honeymoon because he's got the Masters coming up. So
yeah. Also a nice little bonus. Leishman is now into the Masters with that win.
He is, and his story is pretty good with his wife. Did you see that at all?
Yes, a little bit.
I've got it pulled up here. 2 years ago, almost to the week, Leishman's wife Audrey nearly died from toxic shock syndrome, a rare life-threatening complication of certain bacterial infections. Audrey was induced in the coma the last 4 days to pinpoint the illness, and then Leishman had to rush away from Augusta the last time he played, so he didn't get to play last time. So he gets the win this time, and he gets to play in the Masters. Hopefully, things go a little better this time.
Hard not to root for that. Seems like a great guy. On the betting front, we had Capfather. I mean, he's cooling down.
We might have to put him in timeout.
Haven't seen any texts from him in about a week. I think that's understandable. So he picked Stenson, missed the cut, 5 over par. His long shot was Fleetwood, who finished inside the top 10, 600 par, and he was a 40-1 shot. So, you can't hate on him for that. I do want to say that in a very embarrassing, shitty move, I woke up Saturday, I looked at the leaderboard, and I knew that the guys that we had chosen were out of the mix, and I like to be in the mix. So I bet on Emiliano Grillo. At 5-1, I got him. Right after, I was going to tweet about it so everyone could follow along. Oh, let's go, Riggs, let's do this. Right after I bet on him, I turn on the Golf Channel pregame, and they're like, yeah, Grillo was really fighting the snap hooks yesterday. I'm like, oh, shit. Sure enough, made a 9 on the 6th hole to essentially knock him right out of the tournament.
He shot a 78 on Saturday.
And he ended up, for the record, finished 4 shots out of a playoff.
Yeah, he tied for 7th at 7 under.
So had he just parred the 6th, which is a birdie hole, he would have gotten into a playoff. Instead, he made a 9 about, I don't know, maybe an hour and a half after I bet a bunch of money on him to win the tournament. So that was sweet. I thought the course was great this week.
I agree.
Oh, man, it was tough. You don't really see very often 11 under wins it. I also wrote down that just 12 guys finished 5 under or better, and if you really think about it, the 16th hole is so short of a par 5, it's like 5-11. In some years, it's even played as a par 4. So even if you consider that to be basically a hole that guys should be making 4 on, then really you only had 12 guys finish under par for the weekend.
It's insane.
So it was really we love when the course is played tough.
Let me ask this about the course. Is it good or bad for it that there is a lot of alligators out there?
Very startling amount of alligators. They were
like too many alligators, I would say.
You got to wonder when people just go play on a normal basis, they just cross alligators all the time, which are dinosaurs.
Or,
by the way.
or do they bring in alligators to be like, hey, this is gonna be Bay Hill. It's gonna be a lot of cameras around. You know what I mean? Like it's like piping in bird noise on Masters Week.
That's really not a bad idea. I never even thought of that.
Because I
Seems like a risky move.
Risky, but worth it, because I feel like people play Bay Hill all year round and there's not as many. You don't see anytime there's an alligator on a golf course, it goes viral in the golf community and everybody sees it. But you don't see as many coming out of Bay Hill. This week we had Cody Gribble smack one on the ass.
Yep.
And it jumped into the water. Risky move by him.
Yep.
Obviously. And then Smiley Kaufman doing what I would do and seeing one and running the other direction.
And that's what I wrote in the blog, was that was the only natural reaction that I saw all week, was you just run away from it immediately. Why would you tap it on the ass like a psychopath?
Cody tapping on the ass, there's so many other things that could happen other than jumping in the water. My thing would be it was just going to turn around and bite your hand off like Chubbs Peterson.
I kind of like Trent on the pipe it in alligators.
I think they definitely do that.
Again, might have a lawsuit on your hands if that goes the wrong direction. I don't really know. Ricky had an incredible outfit week. I feel like this type of week is made for Ricky.
He knows that it's made for Ricky. He knows that Arnold Palmer was really popular in his day. He knows Ricky's like, oh, I'm really popular now. Got to show out. That yellow and green, woo!
Yeah, it goes right there, too, with the Mr. Palmer's umbrella, the logo, the colors, the iced tea and lemonade, all that, right in Ricky's wheelhouse, and he nailed it. His shoes were on fuego.
Those, I saw they auctioned off the shoes from earlier in the week that had a bunch of picture of Arnold Palmer on it. It went for like 10 G's.
Jesus Christ.
10 G's.
So, great week honoring Mr. Palmer. We're going to see a lot more of that at the Masters as well, and a couple other events throughout the year.
Definitely.
But awesome week. It always is. I love that tournament. I really hope they don't move venues or anything like that. Glad that the course held up. I have a quick listing for something kind of related to player feelings.
Okay.
We had a listener and a fan, Ed. He sent in, he's not really a big golfer, but he said, I started listening to the podcast to get more into golf. My dad has been a fan for years, so I'm watching it more with him. Literally, I have never seen Bryson DeChambeau play, nor did I know who he was before your podcast. When they flashed to him about to take a shot, I instinctively said ugh and rolled my eyes.
Love it.
Love that. So now we've got to the point where people that aren't even golf fans, who don't even know who Bryson DeChambeau is, are using player feelings to basically hate people.
I like that. I like that he just didn't know anything about Bryson, but as soon as he saw him, I think people would have that reaction to Bryson if they had no idea who he was.
And that's been kind of your stance from day one, whereas I was a little bit more giving Bryson a shot at the beginning.
Yeah, and we also had was it this week when they were like, oh, I'm out here grinding away, and there were like 10 camera guys around him.
That was the worst. You're right. He said, this is my week off, out grinding on my week off or something like that. He had literally 6 cameramen out there.
Which leads me to believe that he has zero self-awareness. That picture there is not the picture of a guy who is like reading the press that we give him in terms of us hating him. He must just put those blinders on and be like, I'm just going to keep doing it.
Even LeBron, who's the least self-aware person in the world, knows to go like selfie mode in the gym and not have 10 photographers come with you to the gym.
Have you seen, anytime the PGA Tour puts up a thing about Bryson on Instagram, the comments are fantastic. They're basically just like, I hate this guy. He's a tryhard. He needs to win. He needs to make a cut. We can start a revolution with Bryson in the wrong way.
Good. I like that. This guy, Ed, must have been from a couple weeks ago. I don't think Bryson played this last week.
He did not, no.
So it must have been from a couple weeks ago. Good work, Ed. Keep it up. Glad we've gotten you into the game. Headlines. Trent, I believe we've got some headlines this week.
We've got one headline this week,
okay,
and it's about the one and only Tiger Woods, who had himself a day today. He was in New York City. He did kind of the car wash. He's doing a book signing at Union Square, but at 12:30. But before that, he went to Good Morning America and looked really weird with his hair. If you go look at the pictures,
his situation is so bad. What is he doing? He's a billionaire. Like, get your fucking shit fixed. Either shave it or just get new hair. I mean,
just
get plugs or something.
He just needs to shave it. Just shave it, because you can't. you're a billionaire, like you're saying, he could just get plugs now, and people be like, "Hey, that guy got plugs. That's weird, but he looks better." Just shave
not
it,
though.
man.
It's not. I don't get. It's not. I don't even think it's weird at this point if you get hair plugs. Like, bottom line is having a full head of hair is better and more attractive than not having a full head of hair. So if you can just do it.
No, you can't. I don't like guys get hair plugs. What, Wayne Rooney got hair plugs?
Yeah, Rooney did it.
LeBron got hair plugs. I don't like any of that. Just let it happen. Let it all go away and shave it. Just shave it, because I don't want to be the guy who is like, oh, that guy got hair plugs. That's a shitty look.
Whatever it is, whatever his options are better than what he's doing now. It looks horrific.
He's got to have the most yes man handlers in the world.
In the world. Who is not telling him, dude, you can't go on TV like that?
This is where Tiger needs. Does he have a girlfriend right now? I don't think he does.
I don't know.
He needs Elin. He needs Lindsay. He needs any blonde bimbo off the street would say your hair looks like shit.
Any normal person, any normal dude that's had a normal group of friends, et cetera, would never be allowed out of the house like that. But he has always been the king. He's always been top dog. Alpha male. No one's ever said that. So what is Steinberg doing? His agent? What the fuck? He looks ridiculous.
You bring up a good point about the group of friends. Does he not? He likes to be friends with the guys on tour, but I don't know who his real friends are. I don't think he has any, because he would get ridiculed if he walked into that. If a Barstool blogger walked into that office with that hair,
oh my God,
he would just get ripped to shreds. And that's what Tiger needs.
Does he not even have? I mean, he always talks about how much him and the guys needle each other. Does Jason Day or Jeter or Barkley or any of these guys that are his buddies, they don't text him like, hey, dude, I saw you on TV. You look fucking ridiculous?
Well, as we know, the relationship between him and Barkley soured, I think, after the Thanksgiving thing. So Barkley would be the guy to say it, though. That's what I mean.
Jordan, I don't know, any one of these guys he hangs out with that are his buddies. Somebody tell him.
I think Jason Day looks up to him too much. Jason Day told Tiger, your hair looks like shit, Tiger might stop responding to his text messages. But Barkley and Jordan and those guys are definitely in the camp where they could be like, dude, you look like a fucking idiot.
He looks absurd. You can't listen to anything he's saying. You can't, there's no way that he's doing this whole I'm trying to get ready for the Masters thing. You can't look like that and be ready for the Masters.
Nope. Or be a hat guy. Always be a hat guy.
Always. Glue it to your fucking head.
Glue it.
Because when he's out on course, he looks great. He looks like a savage Tiger Woods. He looks eerily similar to how he used to look, except for the fact that he can't walk or swing or do anything with a back.
Well, to that point, he was on Good Morning America today. He had a putting contest with Michael Strahan, who he beat, and he looked
barely beat him.
Barely beat him.
For the record.
Barely beat him. He was bopping around. He was like, hey, he fist pumped. He gave one of those, which it's sad that it's like, we're getting excited about a Good Morning America fist pump.
It is, because you have to. He was running up to move balls out of the way.
Yep.
That looked like pretty quick movement for a guy that previously couldn't get off a couch.
The putting stroke looked good.
Putting stroke looked good. He looked poised under pressure. There's all kinds of chaos going on, and he was just draining putts.
I wrote it in my blog today that Tiger's a drug addict. He's a drug addict to winning, so he's addicted to winning. Maybe if he just gets a little taste, which he got today by beating Michael Strahan, maybe that's what sends him on a tear. We probably won't look back on his Good Morning America appearance and being like, oh, that putting tournament turned him around, but we might.
Yeah, I remember 5 or 6 years ago, there was a little article that came out, and they were interviewing about his kids, and it was the point where his kids could start to get to the age where they were putting and picking up golf clubs and stuff. And he was like, yeah, I have putting contests now against my 2 young kids. They're like, oh, how does it go? Do you let him win? He's like, no, I dust him. I crush him. I like that a lot.
That's Tiger to me. That's the Tiger I want. The one who will not let his toddlers beat him in anything.
Yeah, we need super competitive Tiger. So it's good to see him competing out there. Then again, we're talking about Good Morning.
If you really take the lens back, and we're like, we're so far removed from the 2000s to the point where we're like, hey, did you see Tiger beat Michael Strahan today? What
a sad reality we've entered with Eldrick. Hopefully he plays the Masters.
And it's frustrating. I hope he plays the Masters. He said he's doing everything he can, blah, blah, blah. We've been eating those shit lines for years now.
Yep.
He did all this because of the book signing. And if it had been, we've seen he's pulled out of tournaments. He's pulled out of press conferences where they know everything today was very controlled. Nobody's firing questions at him. The media is not going to be able to get to him. The book signing, you couldn't have cameras. You couldn't have any of that stuff. He only does these things, and this is what concerns me about this new Tiger, is he's only doing things for financial and the to grow.
Of course he is.
I know, but it's like, I wish he would do press conference. I wish people it seems so fake, and I know Tiger's fake. People are going to say that. This is not the direction I want to see him going.
I mean, it's not surprising. Who cares? It's what he does.
All right, you're right, but it sucks.
Yeah, I would want to see him play golf rather than just putt against Michael Strahan. But it is what it is.
Yeah, I wonder how many times he said I didn't watch Good Morning America, but I wonder how many times he said TGR. I bet it was like 45.
Yeah. Anyways, moving on. We have a very unique interview. I don't really know what to expect.
It's yeah. I'm speechless. I don't know what to expect either.
We're interviewing a fake Shooter McGavin, who is the most in-character Shooter McGavin person ever.
Like Andy Kaufman levels of commitment in terms of his character.
It's the guy who's a very good friend of the program, become a good friend of ours, who started and runs the Shooter McGavin parody account on Twitter, over 300,000 followers. We've thought for weeks, months even, that it'd be really interesting to have him on the podcast, talk about it, talk to him, whatever. Like I said, no idea what to expect. We don't know what to call him.
Shooter?
When we email him, he responds single pistol.
That's the thing people need to know is he is in character behind the scenes even.
So we're gonna sit down. We're gonna chat with Shooter McGavin. Everyone, please enjoy this interview with Shooter. This interview with Shooter McGavin is brought to you by Dollar Shave Club. There's absolutely no reason to use a cheap disposable razor or pay a ridiculously high price for some gimmicky piece of shit thing that's got a laser pointer with 17 blades. Get the smarter choice, make the smarter choice, and join Dollar Shave Club just like I did. Everybody knows I like a nice, smooth shave. I used to be a little bit of a stubble guy. I used to be a little bit of a beard guy. Not anymore. I look way cuter, way handsomer with a nice, clean shave. Dollar Shave Club gets me there. It's either save money and get a painful shave from, like I said, a disposable piece of shit one that they give away for free at the gym, which pretty much feels like shaving with glass, or you pay a fortune for the latest gimmicky shave breakthrough that I don't need, like a laser chin detector or, 17 more blades. Dollar Shave Club is the best of both worlds. Premium shave at a disposable price. Get a close, smooth shave every single time, and you can't beat the convenience or, once again, the price of the Dollar Shave Club. If you haven't tried Dollar Shave Club yet, you are missing out. It's an amazing shave at an affordable price. There's no smarter choice on the entire market. Right now, they're giving away a 1-month trial of any of their razors for $1 with free shipping. After that, it's just a few bucks a month. There's no long-term commitments, no hidden fees, and you cancel whenever you want. Get your $1 trial at dollarshaveclub.com/Fore, F-O-R-E. That's That's dollarshaveclub.com/Fore. Enjoy this interview. All right, now we are joined, as we said, by the famous Shooter McGavin Twitter account owner. I don't even know. Do we just call you Shooter?
Just call me Shooter. That's fine.
Love that. Yes.
That's what all my friends call me not anymore. So
no way. If you had said call me by my real name Steve, I would have been like, I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah, I know. Just call me Shooter, man. That's what all my friends call me these days, anyway, since they know. So.
Amazing.
That's incredible that your friends call you Shooter. I would have never guessed that.
Yeah, that's what happens when you run a parody account for 6 years.
So yeah, it's been 6 years. Let's try to start from the beginning. Are you just like fucking around on Twitter with a Shooter McGavin account and all of a sudden it blows up, or what happened?
I did a couple of parody accounts before that were not as successful as obviously the Shooter account.
Who were they?
One was a Rick Vaughn account, and then the other one was just some terrible about Tebow. Tebow was big back in that day, and I tried to make an account about it and just I ran out of material fast.
Doing like Bible verses and stuff?
I was, yep, exactly. That's 100% what I did. I did Bible verses, like a book of Tebow. I just made Bible verses up that would go according to Tebow. So that's what I did.
Man,
probably about a month.
That's really funny because when I was first trying to get Barstool's attention, I made like 3 or 4 parody accounts. I don't even remember. One was like and literally none of them got over like 100 followers. But one of them was like a fly on the wall like parody account type thing, and the whole premise was like
Riggs.
I was gonna say weird shit, but it's hard to grow them. So so you tried a couple and then you ended up on Shooter.
I ended up on Shooter. You know, I from like 96 to 2004, I probably watched Happy Gilmore over 100 times. Okay. I loved that movie growing up. Me and my buddy would go back to his house every weekend night and just watch it. I don't know. We just love that movie. And I know I was going back and forth whether I want to create a parody account for Happy Gilmore or Shooter. And I don't know, for whatever reason, I just thought, I like Shooter more than Happy Gilmore. I'm like, this guy is great.
Great call.
He's yeah. So first I looked to see if there's any other Shooter McGavin accounts out there, and I was like, there were a couple, but none of them were legit or had anything over 1,000 followers. So I was like, let's give it a shot. So of course I tried, taking a shot, seeing if Shooter McGavin, the actual handle, was available. And of course that wasn't. And the funny thing is, that guy who has that account, he hasn't put a tweet out since 2008, and I've reached out to him 100 times to see if I get that account. I just never get it. But it's just one tweet from 2008, and the guy just never gets back to me. So, but yeah, I started it. Then the first reached out to like Nick Mangold, random people, Nick Mangold, and he for whatever reason, I started putting content out there, and he started to follow me and just and mention back for whatever reason. I was putting funny content out there, and it started to flow, and I just started putting, first few tweets I was putting the Shooter McGavin like quotes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Paul Azinger was one of the first followers, two random people you wouldn't think of, and then they started retweeting my accounts, and it was in April of 2011. That's right when the Masters started. So that's like the main foundation right there, is the Masters, and just putting tweets out then.
So how long into it did you have like 50,000 followers and then 100,000 followers? How long did it take for you to get to those like big milestones?
It took me probably the first 2 years are probably the toughest, just creating a foundation, getting tweets retweeted, getting mentions. Like, first off, when I was like first beginning, I would just search Happy Gilmore, Shooter McGavin, and just find anybody that was tweeting about and just mention them and just say, put a Shooter McGavin reference into it, and then they would tweet back or anything like that. Just going into the search engine, finding golfers and seeing if they would, play along with it, But funny story is, I tweeted Bubba Watson right off the gate, see if he blocked me. He blocked me.
Of course he did.
So.
Jesus.
Of course he did.
He did. 5 minutes.
Bubba Watson should be like, he should model his career after Happy Gilmore. He should do that, and he just refuses to do it.
Right. You watch him play and you think Happy Gilmore. I mean, I do for whatever reason. You just think Happy Gilmore, but he is not a fan. So
you know what? That means you're doing something right.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, if he's blocking me, I know I'm doing something right. It must be funny. So
It's funny because, Happy Gilmore has to be by far the most quoted movie on a golf course of all time.
Without a doubt. I remember talking to you a little bit. You said if you were going to die, that would be the movie you'd watch, and I'd have to agree. I mean, it's just one of those comedies that, you can put on and watch no matter how long it's been playing. It's just, you watch it no matter what.
Yeah, it's like it was those 90s comedies like Billy Madison, Tommy Boy, Black Sheep, Happy Gilmore, especially the Sandler ones. Happy Gilmore might stand just a little bit above all those. It's so quotable.
Yeah, I quote it every day. So
Yeah, how much now, like with your buddies and shit, are you just in character with Shooter?
They call me Shooter, but it's just whenever we go golfing, that's when I get the references the most. Like, can you use your Shooter handle to get us some free golf? Tell them you have this many followers and get us a free round if you mention the course and say how nice it is or something like that. But that's usually the gist of it. But yeah, those guys love it.
Yeah, it's funny. Like, one of the big reasons we want to have you on is because a big part of our job is obviously social. One of nowadays the most interesting and fun parts about watching any TV event is social, especially Twitter, being on Twitter, interacting with people. So now, nowadays, do you get just all jacked up for golf coverage to be like, all right, here we go, Shooter references all day?
I love it. Like Sundays, if there's like a big field and there's like Spieth or McIlroy or Dustin Johnson in the final pairings, it's just, that gets me going, especially with the Masters coming up. That Sunday from 4 to 6 is like when that's like when my creative juices are just flowing. Like, I'm thinking of content that's going to be funny. Or like last year, for example, like the Masters, like Spieth was going out in front, the final round looked like he was just going to pull away, and then 12th hole happened. It was like comedy gold. It's like, thank you. I love Jordan Spieth. He follows me on my account, so it's like, but I was like, thank you for duffing 2 shots into the water there. It's like, because it just opened the floodgates and just, started putting tweets out there and getting retweets and all that stuff. So just being, what's that?
Oh, I was just going to say, as an observer, and I love the account. It's most impressive to me how you relate everything back to Happy Gilmore and Shooter McGavin. It's not because you could easily step outside that. And be like, you could easily step outside and be like, I'm just going to do golf tweets. You somehow miraculously and keep it fresh. You just keep Shooter McGavin in it. I don't know how you do it, but I love it.
Right. And just to think of an example like that, it's like I think Tiger. This probably was 3 or 4 years back. He was in contention, and then he hit the pole, it was
yeah, it was like
he got marked for an illegal stroke.
Yeah.
Yeah, something like that. And he hit the pole and he got marked off 2 or 3 shots or something like that. And I was thinking back to Happy Gilmore. I was like, when Happy went off on that one hole in Waterbury and he just threw the flag stick and won in a tantrum and didn't get docked anything. It was like, just trying to make things funny from the Happy Gilmore reference. Always trying to be in that Happy Gilmore mode where you're thinking, what can be funny from the Happy Gilmore movie? So
I just have this image of you, like right before Masters coverage starts, of you like sitting alone in a corner, like getting jacked up. Like, all right, I got to think about as many Happy Gilmore things as I possibly can right now.
It's just a little bit of brainstorming before those Sundays happen. When I started the account, I was single, living in an apartment, and now 5 years later, I'm Shooter's married and has a kid. So it's like a little bit harder to get those juices going and watch the Sundays, but I still love doing it. So it's
during any course of it, did you experiment with stepping outside of the Shooter thing and just running the account as a golf Twitter, or have you always tried to stay in the character on the account?
I've always tried to stay in the character. Sometimes, if you see something, obviously that's going viral and it's just straight golf, I'll tweet about it. But if I can put a Happy Gilmore or Shooter McGavin twist onto it and, try to make the account as authentic as possible, I always try to do that. So I'm always trying to think of the account, not trying to, for lack of a better word, betray it and just start, tweeting stuff outside the character and making it, less relevant than what it is.
So we're curious, have you ever had any contact or anything with the real Shooter, the guy that played Shooter?
I have not, but it's funny. I watched a few of his interviews, and the guy, he loves being the Shooter McGavin. Every time I see a picture somebody tweets me, it's him doing the single pistol or the double pistol, and it's just like, this guy just loves being Shooter, and it helps me. I mean, like, that guy, he just gets bombarded with Shooter McGavin references whenever he goes out. That's like, and he plays along with it. So, but yeah, I've almost had a chance to talk to him, but I've never had the opportunity to talk to him. But from what I've heard and people that tweet me, he seems to enjoy it. I know he knows the account, but he never talked to him. No.
Yeah, I was curious, almost like a little competition out there, like a couple guys like fighting for that Shooter recognition.
Right. Yeah. He was actually, he threw a first pitch out down in Akron, around where I live, and he actually reached out to me and said if I had a wedding that weekend, so I couldn't have done it. Like, it was my best friend's wedding, and didn't have a chance to go down there and talk to him. But that would have been cool just to meet him. And I always think about what I would say to him if I met the guy. I was like, I'm the Shooter McGavin account, and I don't know what he would say to me. So
well, and not that he owes you anything, but you've kept that character. It's a relevant character regardless because it's a pretty iconic character. But the Shooter McGavin Twitter account has kept him probably more relevant than he would be.
I think about that sometimes, but he does some things. Boardwalk Empire and all that stuff, but I've seen stories where he actually almost turned down the role for Shooter McGavin, and it's like probably the best decision in his life that he actually did it, because it's, I think one of the best roles in comedy.
He's such a good villain. It's unbelievable.
It's like he's so perfect for that. I couldn't envision, I would love to see who else they would have cast for that role if it wasn't Chris McDonald, because I just couldn't picture it as anybody else.
That's the mark of when an actor does something really well, when you can't even, because like you said, I can't picture who else would even try to do that role.
No, there's nobody. Nobody I could think of doing that role besides Chris McDonald.
Yeah, it's like the Jason Alexander. Like, there's just you couldn't even fathom a different George. You couldn't even fathom a different Shooter. That smug, douchey, country club golfer is so perfect.
Yeah. It was just perfect. It's funny. I was watching an interview he did on Rich Eisen last year, and he talked about that last putt there. He went ballistic and just was classic Shooter, and just. I think it's one of the best parts in the whole movie is where he did that whole choke on that baby. And they said, or he said, he was allowed to do 8 putts to make that putt. And that's all he had. If he didn't make it, they were just going to have him miss the putt. I'm not even joking. And he's
No
like,
way.
Whoa.
On the 7th, yeah. On the 7th, I'll send you guys a link on that. But he made it on the 7th try, and then he just improvised the whole celebration, and they just kept it. That wasn't even planned. He was total improvisation on that. So I thought that was the greatest story ever. But
That's amazing. I love that. So now, you're at over 2,000 followers. Is that what it is?
yeah, 302. Yep, right around there.
And have you, what's the biggest, names that you've been able to contact or chat with or DM or anything like that come from it?
Aaron Rodgers is probably the biggest that I've established a relationship with, not like personal or anything, but just through Twitter. He started following me around 2013. We had a little interaction that day, and then he followed me that evening, and he's been a big follower of mine, and he tweets me and retweets all my tweets usually around big sporting events. So he's probably been the biggest reason. I was around probably about 140,000 when he started following me, and I'm sure that's a big reason why I'm around 300 now, because keep those eyes on that many of my account. It's going to go up a little bit. So
does any part of you, when you see that you have over 300,000 followers, does any part of you feel like, oh man, this is almost getting so big that I can't wrap my arms around it?
Sometimes I get a little stale with the account. I see 300,000, where can I go from here? And it's I have to do a little bit of looking to see, is there that much more to do to grow the audience? So sometimes I think I'm at the cap. But the creative juices go on me when certain events come around, like the Masters, and that comes. It's just going to be what can I do to be funny? What can I do to be different than last year around this time? But to put a number on, right now I'm happy doing it still. I'm 32 years old, and I still love doing the account. But no, I don't get stagnant with it at all.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's been 5-6 years. That's a long time to be running an account and being character.
Yeah, when I knew I was coming out, I had to look. I was like, I don't even know when I started the account. When was it? It was in 2011, and it was just, like I said, those first 2 years were just kind of a grind, getting the mentions out there, the Happy Gilmore references, and see who would, follow. It was mostly just creating a foundation where they knew you were the actual character, knew your shit when Happy Gilmore, and not some fraud just looking to get followers. So,
do you have any kind of thoughts on just golf Twitter in general? And because we get everything from people that just love to be in the mix and have a good time, and then we get people that take golf way too seriously and are like golf hardos, and they start chirping if you ever post a picture of you golfing. They start shitting on our club, playing and all that. What are your kind of just thoughts in general on golf Twitter and being a big part of it?
Usually most of my followers, they know the gist. I'm just going to put out funny stuff.
Right.
And the occasional time I post a golf picture of where I'm golfing, I'll get a couple hardos where they'll be like, "Oh, just stick to the comedy and not the actual pictures and swinging a golf club or showing a green." It's but come on,
I love that
Francis.
messes up their day.
Right, lighten up, Francis. It's not all about the comedy. I post enough out there, so.
Yeah. Okay. So I've noticed too. You're kind of you've been slinging a little merch. What's kind of the plan with the account? Is it do you make any money off it? Because I feel like 302,000 is a lot of followers. I feel like it's got to reach a point where you're like, what can I do with this?
Right. I do the Teespring. I know you guys are big on T-shirts. I do that from time to time. I'm always trying to think of creative shirts, like you guys are always. But I actually talked to another guy not that long ago, Scratch. I'm sure you guys are familiar with them. They're associated with PGA.
Oh yeah.
They're big golf fans, big shooter fans. So I'm thinking they're talking about maybe going out to a course on Sunday and live tweeting from their account, which I think would be fun. So. But yeah, I'm always looking for bigger things. I've worked with Golf Now, a company I'm sure you guys are familiar with, where they're scheduling tee times, and I've ran a couple promotions for them. But nothing too big yet. I'm always looking for the next big thing. But yeah, I do make a fair amount of profit off of it, definitely, for sure. But
yeah, Scratch, I like them. They have a good account actually.
Yeah, I talked to DJ. He's the guy who owns it, and he just recently took it over the creative department. He got in touch with me and was looking to go in a different direction where they were going before. So, yeah, definitely like them.
That sounds great. Yeah, it's it's definitely something cool that you've built. I've been, since I first got into Twitter, I feel like I've been on the account.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, when did you guys start following Shooter?
Yeah, I was trying to think. I mean, I know, so my buddies and I I'm from St. Louis originally, and we are, like I said at the beginning, Happy Gilmore's got to be the most quoted movie, especially when we're golfing. I don't think we play a single hole without some sort of Happy Gilmore reference. Right. So I think I've probably been following the account since around, I would guess within like a year or so of when you started it. So probably been like 4 or 5 years that I've been following the account.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Trent?
I'm trying to think. It's definitely been a couple years, but because I remember when KFC did the villains bracket. You remember when that went down?
Yeah.
And I remember when he was like,
ago,
I got this Shooter guy, and he's kind of helping me pump up the interaction with it. And when KFC said that, I was like, oh, yeah, I've been following that account for a couple years. And that's been, I think that was last year. So I'd say 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, about last year at this time.
Yeah, I'd say I've been following about 2 to 3 years. So it's been a while.
Okay. Yeah. When that villains bracket came out last year, that was kind of like a big old kick in the creative juices. That was pretty fun to
that was great.
Help take over that account. that
was great. You swung the vote. Shooter would have probably got pretty far anyway, but when you got your Twitter followers to start voting, you sailed to the victory. Yeah,
I remember I would wait about till 11 a.m., 12 p.m. because the voting closed at 12:30, and just put this tweet out help Shooter get to move on to the next round, because I'd be facing the Joker, I think the Jaws, the Von Drago. And it was funny because you could just put creative trash talk out there from Shooter, from the movie, and it was easy to do.
Well, I
enjoyed that.
That helped us too, because when Shooter either won or was in the finals, Golf Digest picked it up and was like, "Hey, look at this!"
Yeah. There was a few stories after that came out where they were running this thing. Shooter still on top as the best villain ever. Oh, that's cool.
It's so fucking good that we got you got a parody Twitter account just battling it out in the bracket. Right. What a huge advantage that your character has at 300,000 followers in the bracket.
Right. Yeah, I don't think any of those other villains had that follower account, so I tried to use it to my advantage.
That's awesome. All right, Trent, you got anything else?
I'm just happy this finally happened.
Yeah,
this was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed it, guys.
Yeah, we've been, so everybody knows, you've been helping us behind the scenes. You've been a big fan of the podcast, I think, since day one. So you've kind of helped reach out.
Yeah, when I heard you guys are coming out, I wanted to jump on. So.
Yeah, no, we've really appreciated it. Like I said, you've kind of helped reach out to guests and get us some guests and all that, and been involved and given us a couple of creative ideas for videos and stuff like that. So we've been collaborating behind the scenes. It was really nice to finally, be able to chat, get you on the podcast, and just hear about the account. Because like I said, I've probably been following it for 4 or 5 years at least.
Yeah. I don't plan on stopping anytime soon. I got a little one now, so hopefully when he's old enough, I can just pass it down to him. But we'll see.
Did you name him Shooter?
I ran it past the wife, and she wasn't too thrilled about that. So his name is not Shooter Jr., unfortunately.
Hey, you got it. Shooter, shoot. You tried.
Right, I tried, but it didn't work. I tried Chubbs, and it didn't work out either.
You just go down the list. Chubbs, Happy. Come on, give me something.
Happy. Donald. That just didn't work.
That's great. All right, Shooter. Well, we really appreciate it, man. And, we're going to keep collaborating and all that going forward. So keep it up with the account.
Awesome, guys. I enjoyed it.
All right, man. Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Shooter.
Take it easy, guys. Bye.
And, Trent, that was Shooter McGavin.
Just a different sort of interview that we're doing around here.
It is. I like it because, we're not a PGA Tour podcast. We're trying to mix it up. We're trying to get in different guys. We had Michael Breed. We've had Shooter McGavin.
Breed is sort of in the normal where he's an instructor. He's on TV.
Yep.
Shooter, and we both, as soon as we're like, we should have Shooter on, we're like, yep. I just want to know about different parts of that. And he did really well.
His chats about, the parodies getting into it with each other and, being Shooter with his buddies and having that rep is laugh out loud.
He was like, I didn't know if I wanted to be Happy Gilmore when I started. I didn't know if I wanted to be this or that. It was cool. And it almost turned into a Riggs interview for me because you just gave out some information that I did not know, that you, before you started Barstool, started a couple parody accounts yourself.
You guys both started to get nervous at that point.
I did. I was like,
what the fuck is he gonna say?
I know you now. You're a funny guy. I knew it was probably going to be good. But when you were like, it was this fly on the wall Twitter account, I did not know where. I think if you go back and listen to it, you can hear me like yelling at you to like.
I could see your face. You're being like, Rick, shut up. You loser. Like, stop. So
let's get a little information on
it's
that.
It's very difficult, as everybody knows, to get Barstool's attention. And I was trying to get it. And I had one. The fly on the wall idea is a good idea because it's a metaphor that people use all the time. So the whole account idea was I was the fly. I was tweeting as the fly that sees shit that nobody else sees. The other idea I had, which is along the same premise, was an elephant in the room parody account.
You know the scene in Office Space where the guy gets in the accident and he has all this money and he wants to do a startup and he's explaining his jump to conclusions, Matt?
Yep.
That's what Elephant in the Room sounds like when you explain it to me.
Elephant in the Room is a great parody account. I'm the elephant, Trent. It's me. I'm the elephant. Hey guys, I'm here. You can talk about me.
I know you guys can see me.
The tension won't be clear until you talk about me. That's the elephant in the room.
I get it, Riggs. I get it. I like Fly on the Wall better because you can just like make observations. Elephant in the Room.
I'm pretty sure
is your jump to conclusions.
I think
Matt.
Fly on the Wall evolved to Elephant in the Room.
Shocked it didn't go the other way.
And then neither one of them has really survived. So that was Shooter.
Look at you now, kid.
Yeah, look at me now, just killing it. So that was Shooter. Very, very interesting. Like I said, we're big. We're on social media nonstop.
Yeah.
And Happy Gilmore. I did say that. I think I said it on the morning show that somebody asked if you had to listen or you had to watch one movie forever, and they gave us like a drama, comedy. My comedy was Happy Gilmore. It just makes me laugh out loud every time.
It's great. Yeah. So if you probably already follow the Shooter McGavin account, but if you don't, I think it's at Shooter McGavin _ is the account.
I think it is too.
So if you listen to this podcast,
it's at Shooter McGavin _ He's got 302,000 followers. Very funny, especially he's a must follow golf Twitter during golf events.
Yeah, and if you're listening to this podcast, you probably have already followed him. But if you don't, make sure to throw him a follow. He was a cool guest, and he's pretty involved with this podcast. So he's one of us.
He's been very involved. Like I said, he emails us weekly content ideas for different skits. He helps us out with trying to get guests and all that. So he's the man. It was really nice to talk to him. Appreciate him. He's a real life person with a family and stuff.
If I can say, more normal than I thought he was going to be.
Very normal dude. He's just like a relatable, normal dude who has a 302,000 follower parody Twitter account of Shooter McGavin.
If you look at it on the face, like, hey, here's this 32-year-old guy running a parody account for a movie character. You don't know what you're going to get, but he's normal.
You do. We did not know what we were going to get.
No. We've had interactions with him via email, which, by the way, he does not go out of character when he's in emails. He puts single pistol all the time.
Yep.
So you never know what you're going to get, but he was very normal. He's got a kid. He seems like a cool dude.
Kudos to Shooter. On to everybody's favorite segment from the gallery. Once again, email us stuff at foreplay at barstoolsports.com, at foreplaypod on Twitter and Instagram. Send us stuff. We're going to start off. Nice little angry golfer story here.
Okay.
This is from a guy named Trent, not our Trent, a different Trent.
Oh, okay. I was wondering when you put that in there, like, why did you put my name on the list?
Like you were supposed to say it?
I did. That's what I thought.
Yeah, that would have been weird. No, this guy's name is Trent. I never put last names. I feel like we're not supposed to say people's last names.
Probably not.
So that's just professional podcasting. This guy's got a good story. He was playing in a little local tournament at a Muni course. He was playing with a guy. This is when he was in high school. So he's playing with a guy that he had played high school golf against. And they were just playing in, a normal little local tourney. He says, so we're playing the 7th hole, short little par 5, pond short and left of the green. This guy, Vince, hits a bomb drive, hits like a 5-iron, and he hits it, and it's headed left towards the water. He says, as we're approaching the green, don't see his ball, and I can sense a blow-up coming. He says Vince has a little bit of a temper, always has, so he's a little nervous playing with Vince. Sure as shit, he says he can hear Vince over there going, where's my goddamn ball? I know I made it over the pond. I saw it bounce. So he looked for a while. He's just fuming. Starts to say some very vulgar shit for a 17-year-old. Eventually, he hears him slam down his bag, and he says, as I'm expecting him to reach for a ball and take a drop, instead he sets down his bag, grips his bag like he's about to throw it, grabs it with both hands, does a spin like a shot putter, and throws his bag, entire clubs and all, about 10 feet into the pond.
That's an amazing visual.
He says he obviously started laughing, like this guy started laughing at Vince when his bag's floating farther away towards the middle of the pond. He said he throws a couple more F-bombs, walks to his car, drives home, the ultimate WD. I mean, you got to respect that commitment.
My reaction to this is, when they say, oh, when somebody murders someone and they're like 30s, they say, oh, the signs were there. The signs were definitely there. Like they used to.
I didn't know where you were going with murdered somebody.
Yeah. Stick with me here.
Okay.
They used to then you find out, they used to murder kittens and rabbits and bunnies. This is on that level with me, where he is just completely loses his mind, spins shot put style.
The shot put's great.
Yeah.
It wasn't like he was ready. I'm going to fucking shot put this thing into the middle of the pond.
Yeah. And that's the biggest thing with me is that's a person who doesn't think, because throwing that in there, you're just not going to get it back and it's all ruined. So he just doesn't think, just does it. That's the type of person who might go on to do bigger and worse things.
Yeah. So shout out to Vince. Hopefully he's a happier person now.
I hope Vince is happy, but I would imagine he's not.
17-year-old Vince throwing his entire bag in the middle of a tournament into the water. Good for him.
Have you ever thrown any sort of golf stuff into a pond or a lake?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Well, I've thrown one time I was in a playoff against my buddies. We were just normal round 18. We ended up tied, so we did a couple playoff holes. And I 3-putted to lose the match. And I did a weird, over-the-head tomahawk putter throw.
Oh, whoa!
Yeah. It was
you're throwing an axe?
Yep. It was exactly. It was an axe format, and it was very regrettable. And it hit the cart, made a big noise, and I was worried my putter's broken. So that was bad. I also had one time a guy. I didn't even think about this story, but this was remember guest I was playing in, and we're playing. Comes down to the last match on the last day, Sunday. And the guys we're playing against are pretty drunk. We'd had a couple beers, so we're not the soberest guys. But there's a good amount of money on the line. It's a member guest, probably a couple $1,000s total because, everybody buys in, Calcutta, all that shit. So we're down to the 17th hole, and it's best ball format. One guy is in his pocket. The other guy's he's just short of the green, and he needs 2 putts to tie the hole.
Yep.
And he leaves it 10 feet short. So he goes to throw his putter up the fairway, just in frustration, throw it 10 or 20 feet up ends up, you know how when you go to throw something, sometimes it gets stuck on your hand for too long?
Oh, yeah.
So instead, it changes it by 30 degrees, and he launches it off a cliff.
No.
Into, it's probably a 40-foot drop and a bunch of trees, gone.
You're never getting
gone. And he looks over he's getting ready to climb down there. And my partner and I mean, we're all jacked up at this point. This is their only hope, and the guy doesn't have a putter.
Yep.
Literally doesn't have a putter. So he's getting ready to climb down. They're buddy, you're going to die if you go try to get that putter. Ends up, he 3 putts, loses, doesn't have a putter on the he can't play with a putter, so he doesn't have a putter on 18 either. His partner's in his pocket, 2 on 18. The guy has to putt with his wedge, doesn't make a putt he needs to make. We ended up winning a bunch of money.
Fucking A.
Shout out to my boy Phil. We won that match. And, guy threw his putter off a cliff. It was great.
That's awesome.
Yes.
You should have gone and let him try and go get it. Just see what happens.
I felt kind of bad, but you threw your putter off a cliff. What the fuck you want me to do?
That's on you, buddy.
I got another guy, Everett, who just kind of brought up an interesting question. He said, basically, he and his friends play different sets of tees, or they like to at least. His buddies play around 6,000 yards. This guy likes to play 67 to 6,900. He said, very specific. Everett is.
Yep.
He's what do you do?
I'm curious what your opinion on this is, because when I play with my friends, we all are pretty much the same level, so we all play always from the same tees. But I could see a situation where, you would if you're so much better than everyone you're playing with, that you want to just play from different tees. Is that?
You have to be way better to pull that off, I feel like. So I do have a buddy who's a +2 or 3 handicap, which is, he's phenomenal.
Yeah.
He's, 6, 7, 8 shots better than I am at least. And when we'll play courses, he'll always play the tips no matter what. And so, if we play with his dad, and sometimes that's the only time I could ever even imagine. But he's a pretty serious golfer. So whenever we're playing, it's very serious in nature. So it's not a big deal to play from different tees and all that. Typically, this is a psychotic move.
Okay.
You all just play the same tee.
Yeah, you'd have to be a real jackass for you all to be kind of the same.
Bizarre.
Be I'm going back a tee.
Totally bizarre. You're hardo, relax. So I would say just play up or usually compromise somewhere in the middle
Yeah.
or something like that. I feel like that's a really weird move to play different tees when you're in the same group.
I think that would be the overwhelming opinion, I would hope.
Dennis asks, what's your guys' weirdest match play story? He said he was playing high school match play at Middle Bay, Oceanside, New York. Says there's several holes on the bay, hit his ball on the green, when all of a sudden a seagull, which he points out is the worst creature in the world, a seagull tries to eat it, kicked it, nibbled at it, then picked it up and dropped it in the water.
Pretty wild. Pretty wild for him to say seagull is the worst creature in the world.
This guy hates seagulls.
Maybe I can understand that is he from like a city probably, because seagulls are fucking everywhere, right?
Yeah, I think seagulls are vicious. Like they attack and eat your shit no matter what. I always when I go to do a buddy's trip in Newport, shout out Newport. We got a bunch of Newport people at this company, Newport, Rhode Island.
Never been there, but I hear great things.
Seagulls are vicious up there.
Yeah, see, I'm from a place where the seagulls aren't as cutthroat. Because, producer Rob's got something to say.
I got to chime in about seagulls.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, Rob.
Here we go.
So speaking
Octagon
of,
Bob with the seagull story.
I challenge seagulls into the octagon.
Sometimes things get caught on your hand, like you were talking about the guy with the putter.
Yep.
That happened to my mom. We were crabbing, fishing for crabs.
Crab walking?
No.
Or no? Oh, crabbing.
Crabbing.
Okay.
Crabbing. And so
I already don't know where this is
she
going.
threw a piece of meat, like looking to throw it into the lake for the seagulls, threw it straight up, came straight down onto the dock. Many people there. Seagulls swarmed.
No. Oh,
My
no.
little cousins were there. My little cousins at this point, they're like 14 and 15, and they have PTSD about the seagull incident. They're traumatized of seagulls.
Just millions of vicious seagulls.
Yes.
They're bad, man. So we always have an issue. Every year we're dumbasses. We do this. We leave like one bag of garbage out on the deck on accident. Come back in the morning. It's World War fucking III out there. I mean, these things are vicious. So anyway, Dennis had a seagull just straight up dropped his ball in the water. Said his playing competitor was fine with it, and they just replayed it and all that. But asked basically if we have any wild match play stories.
Nothing as wild as that. No, I do not.
The closest thing I can say is one time I got really mad at my brother because on 18 I made a putt to force extra holes against him.
Okay.
And he was mad at me. And he went, and when I made it, he went to pull my ball out of the hole and he threw it into a lake. And we had a huge fight about it afterwards. I'm a very superstitious guy. Yeah. So I was like, I wanted to use that ball for the playoff because, like, I'm hot right now. That's my hot hand, hot ball.
Yeah.
You threw it into a fucking lake. So we legit got into a serious arguing match about the legality of it. You can't just take somebody's ball and throw it into the lake.
You certainly cannot do that.
So we ended up, but the round was over. So it was like, what do you do? So we ended up. I don't remember who won or whatnot. But I remember we had like a 10-minute shouting match, just the two of us playing. Me being like, you threw my ball in a fucking lake.
You can't do that.
No.
Riggs' brother. You can't do that.
No, you really cannot do that. And then we got one more. This is a good story. This guy, this is a really good story. Guys, what's up, guys? Working at a golf course. You see some ridiculous shit happen throughout the summer, but one thing from last season stands out above the rest for me. A member who had recently decided to pick the game back up had a lesson with our head pro. He was a little out there, but a good guy, just a little quirky. Anyways, shows up 30 minutes early for his lesson. Not a problem, but our pro was giving another lesson, so I set his clubs up on a cart and told him he was more than welcome to start warming up, and our pro would be with him soon. He looked at me, walked into the clubhouse, only to return 30 minutes later, out of breath and sweaty. Turns out he took warm-up as go run in the treadmill in full golf apparel.
I mean, I'm dubious about this guy because he's picking the game back up.
Right.
He's not if it was a new player, it's like warm up could literally mean anything, maybe even going and sprinting on a treadmill in full golf apparel.
The full golf apparel is great.
Yeah.
Like khakis and like a nice striped polo.
I'm picturing him in a light polo and then it's just dark once he gets out of there because there's so much sweat.
Like, I'm warmed up, coach, let's do this.
Yeah. It's so bizarre for him to be picking the game back up. So he's a previous player, and he still doesn't realize warm-up is just like, go out there, hit a few balls, do whatever you want. He's like, nope, I'm going to go sprint on the treadmill.
It's the only warm-up the guy knows. Yeah, I thought that too. This guy must be a first-timer, but apparently he's picking the game back up. Weird move. Have to respect it. I'm sure. Hopefully he had a good session after that.
He probably just went home. He's like, I'm exhausted. I'm going home.
That's from the gallery. Again, if you have anything, any stories, any questions, any little tricks and nuances and traditions that you have with your buddies, email us, foreplay@barstoolsports.com. Tweet us at foreplaypod. Instagram us at foreplaypod. And now on to WGC-Dell match play chat. All right, it's the WGC-Dell match play week. One of the more unique weeks on tour.
Definitely. Exciting stuff.
We just watched about the first half of the selection show. We were planning on watching the whole thing. We didn't know it was a fucking marathon.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be 30 minutes, and they stretched it out to an hour and a half. I get what they're trying to do. March Madness. People love brackets. Brackets are out in the streets all this time of year. But, I mean, not when you're just picking golfers for an hour and a half. That's not great.
Picking golfers on ping pong balls with just numbers on the ping pong balls. I mean, we're golf guys. We have a golf podcast. We very much like golf. That's been well documented. We couldn't even watch the whole thing. We were like, fuck this. We're leaving. We're going to do the rest of the show.
You bring up a good point about the balls just having numbers on them. If they had the player on it, it would be much more like instant gratification. But its number gets sucked up. A guy spins it with his giant hand in the TV, and then the guy has to get the name from the list. And it's like, by that point, I'm already out.
Way too much for guys like us. Way too much. Just give us a name. Give us a group. Maybe just release the brackets. Also, just release them earlier so we have time to do them.
Yeah, we can do that. Maybe we could even set something up, but nope. These brackets are going to be out for like a couple hours before we're ready to go.
So I think they might have overdone it a little bit. We were laughing like not necessarily the all-star kind of entertainment crew up there either. I mean, they rolled out a couple good guests. We were talking about JT.
Yep, he was good.
He was good. He was talking about his fits that he was throwing, I think, down in Mexico. A couple other places where he's taking some heat on Twitter.
Kind of got into it a lot. Like normally that's a passing question where you're like, oh yeah, my emotion is the best of me, but I'm just trying to play my game. He had like a 45-second answer where he's like, I want to be a role model. I want to do this. Yes, I'm an emotional person. I'm fiery, this and that. Fuck it, Justin Thomas. Just do whatever you want. It's entertaining.
Do your thing. Luckily, he followed it up with like, if people, in order for me to be that upset when I'm bad, that's also what fuels me to be that jacked up when I'm good.
And that could not be more correct.
We want emotions. We want clubs throwing. We want fist pumping. I mean, you got to have that.
I mean, you can have a couple Jason Duffners where they're just like not too high, not too low, or no emotion at all. But I want guys out there who care. I want to see it.
Yeah, so they rolled out JT. They rolled out Spieth. They rolled out Rory, who, I mean,
yoked.
He looked jacked.
He looks great. Yeah, I want to pick him every time I see him. Does that make sense?
Yeah, every time he gives you more confidence in him when you see him physically, because he used to be this, kind of
dork,
droopy, like huge mop on his head.
People forget
pudgy, and now he's fucking ripped.
People forget if you go back and look at old Rory photos, it's tough for him.
Like U.S. Open victory Rory at Congressional is like chubby, goofy looking Rory, and now he's like alpha male, fucking jacked.
I've
Rory.
even heard that was one of the big motivators behind him, like getting in shape, and it helps your golf game being healthy. You eat right, you look better, but also you just look good out there. I think part of it is that, I would imagine
it's helping because he was roasting the golf ball this last weekend.
Yep,
he had I think ninth hole. He had long drive of the weekend, 383 or something like that.
Hasn't played much golf at all this year.
Has not played at all, and he's still in the hunt, in the mix, heading out 3 jacked on 18, which we saw about earlier, or which we talked about earlier. He was right there, so he's my pick for this weekend. We haven't seen all the groups yet.
No, we have not.
We did, I think, the group of death that people were talking about. It's Matsuyama, Oosthuizen, Ross Fisher, and Jim Furyk.
Killer group.
Solid group.
Yeah.
Jim Furyk shot a 58 and a 59 and won a U.S. Open before, and he's won, I think, 20-plus times on tour.
Hideki is, one of the hottest golfers in the world.
He had that stretch the end of last year, beginning of this year, where he won like 4 times in however many, 6, 7, 8 events, whatever the hell it was, and the ones he didn't win, he was finishing right up there at the top.
Although you never know with match play, sometimes random guys will be good at match play and like the top players won't be. That's not the case with Rory. Rory is awesome at all terms of golf, but you get random guys who are good at match play might come out of nowhere.
Yeah, they mentioned it on the really cool selection show. Was it Nick O'Hearn who's beaten Tiger twice?
Yep.
So random shit like that. It's match play. It's one of those things, right, where you can, in a stroke play event, if you shot like a 74, you're out of the tournament. In this, you might shoot 74, the guy you're playing against shoots 75, and you advance. And and then you might have a day where you shoot 64, the guy shoots 63, and you lose. That's match play. That's how it works. Luckily, with the new format, it's a little bit kind of less do or die in that you get 3 days, the pod system, best record out of the 4 of you over 3 matches each. It advances. This is the second year that they're doing it in Austin. I'm jacked up. Last year's was awesome. J-Day took it down. Rory was right in the mix.
I wish they would do more of these events. I don't see why they don't.
It's crazy they don't do more match play. I know that they're doing the Zurich, which is, we looked it up because we're capital J's. It's stroke play. Half of the days are alternate shot. Half of the days are best ball. I wish they would do a team match play event.
It's insane that they don't. The more they mix it up, the better it'll be because you obviously can't replicate the Ryder Cup. That's just a whole different thing. But the more elements you can push into the tournament on a more regular basis will get people more involved with golf.
The team aspect is great. The match play aspect is even better. I think they're really trying to hone in on the schedule. I think that's the one thing. If they had a team match play event on tour, you had guys every year entering their same squad, which, I mean, they're definitely getting at it with the Zurich. If they made that match play, I'd be over the moon, Trent.
You'd be over the moon.
Over the moon.
Yeah, you said you're picking Rory. I got to go Captain America, Patrick Reed, because he's got big old balls in an event like this.
It's hard not to pick Patrick Reed in match play. He's that guy too that he'll, like, his shitty day will be when the guy he's playing against has a shitty day, and he'll just beat you by 1. That's all it takes. And we want to say as well that I haven't seen any pics from Capfather. No texts. He's gone dark. In his defense, the groups came out late and all of that, but we're kind of flying. Might have to do a week off of Capfather this week.
He hasn't been as hot as he has been. He's a victim of his early success.
Big time.
So
people are coming for his throat.
I know.
Twitter.
I don't feel bad for Catfather, but I kind of do. So we'll take a week off Catfather, just kind of give our own, and hopefully chin up, champ.
I saw some emotional tweets out of Catfather. I also saw some people sent me that he's blocking people on Twitter now. So he's good.
I wasn't sure if we were going to bring that up. I've gotten a few people being like they barely said anything to him, and he just blocks them, which. Not fan of blocking here at Barstool Sports.
So not sure what we're going through with Capfather, but we just made our own picks this week. It should be great. It's an extra day of golf. It's Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then Saturday you get into the elimination rounds, which is you gotta win 4. You gotta play 4 matches in 2 days. 36 holes a day to win.
Yes.
So it's a battle.
Yeah. If you want, it's the best. Sort of like dick measuring that you can get. Like one-on-one, mano-y-mano, alpha male type stuff, which, I love that stuff and when you can get it in golf.
Yeah, so they're down in Austin. I'm going to be there the week after they are, putting on, of course, a very embarrassing, I'm sure, display of golf. So yeah, it should be good. Trent, you got anything else?
I don't think so. Enjoy the golf this weekend. This is one of the events where, it's must-see TV.
Match play, get your brackets in. Watch guys go mano-a-mano. I think that's it.
I think that'll do it.
Hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Living large. I hit it.